guys, today we're going to be reviewing the Wander versus Barba, the bearded brawler fight. I am doing this video live, and I'll get into why at the end of the video. But for now, let's turn our attentions to the Colossus in question, like a friend who has walked in wearing bright pink trousers. Now, when I fought this guy, you know, you do the usual trek across the landscape, you do the overworld traversal thing, and when you do get to the end of it, you do get into an underground cave. And when you look over the edge, because there is a huge cliff when you walk into this cave, it is way down there. You do find a ladder. There is a ladder on the wall, and you do climb down it because otherwise you'd kill yourself. You know, you can't really survive a 30-foot drop. You get across the land, and what happens? The door falls down, revealing Barba. Oh my god, you have no idea what this guy does, what he looks like, or anything else. So you do the natural thing. You run towards the wall on the other side and hope the fact that you can run away from this guy before he kills you. And you do make it to the end. You go to the end of the hallway. There is a small alcove on the back wall. Perfect for you, but not for the guy chasing you. And this is what I do in my playthrough. I went to the back there. I hope that from this vantage point I could see Barba, you know, moving around, doing some things, learn the attack patterns, what I should be watching out for, and what happens when he finally gets into viewing range. He bends over and looks at me, trying to find me. Guess what? Perfect opportunity. You go to the sigil stab and you win the game. I was in shock. I couldn't believe it. The first move I did was by dumb luck the weakness that I was supposed to pick on anyway. I didn't even know if he actually fought you. He probably usually does the foot stomp thing, but since he's unarmed, I'm assuming he also throws some punches or something. But I already killed him the first move. He's dead. So his death scene's underway, and we get to go back. Yay! This only took like 5 minutes. Now, on inspection, Barba has a couple issues coming into this boss fight. And one of the most obvious is that this is now mid-game. This is the 6th Colossus. You fought 5 before. You're starting to get in tune with the game mechanics. You are becoming more badass as a Colossus destroyer. This is the entrance to mid-game. And in a video game, equationally, an ideal game will skimp on cash money in order to trick out the beginning and the end, along with the player becoming experienced again to the zone of greatness and becoming a general badass. Barba is the 6th. He is in the mid-game boss fight field, so suffers a bit by the developers, which is seems to be very obvious. Another problem is that Barba, again, is uninteresting, which proves my point, that he has been skimped on development time. He is also the 3rd humanoid Colossus I need to fight with, and he also has to contend with his comparisons against Gaius and Valus, the Pillar Swordsman duel of the minds between it and Wander, and the incredibly perfect setup for the entire game and the boss fight, respectively. So it is understandable that a humanoid with no weapons but his bare fists fighting in a room too small for itself would suffer under such comparisons. Personally, I don't even know if Barba attacks you. Again, I beat him so fast that I didn't really see him do anything. I'm thinking that he could possibly smash support columns. He definitely smashes the walls that you have to run up to try and step on you. But he doesn't really throw any curveballs at Wander, nothing that would take him off guard. He just punches things. Which again is probably my fault because I discovered his weakness on my first dumb luck move. So, without a club or a Gaius Pillar Sword, Barba without a weapon leaves him less interesting than his humanoid counterparts. So the only unique feature of this Colossus itself is its magnificent beard. And again, this is a personal thing, but I can really appreciate when someone has crafted facial hair, and Barba probably needs a mustache to complement his great beard. Because his only unique feature is also his weak point, it definitely loses points because it's designed to be there instead of just added to his design to make it more interesting. Which is kind of like the difference between those fruit cookie cutters and just making a fruit salad initially and cutting them into shapes when you're done without actually planning to do so. Barba being designed like this can only lead me to the conclusion that he was incredibly skimped on development time, development motivation to create a good boss fight here, and most importantly leads me into the conclusion that this guy was just there to fill out the numbers, to actually make there be 16 Colossi, because again, he's uninteresting, he doesn't really fight back in any great degree, but since he's not incredibly weak or incredibly strong either way, it can't play into the story alignment, and of course it doesn't create good gameplay because the game itself is indirectly forcing you into his weak point. I mean, what do you do when you get down there? He appears out of the back wall behind you, and you've only got one way to go now because you've jumped off your ladder to the outside world has been destroyed. So you run that way. That is the only thing you can do. I mean, you can turn around and fight him, but your brain, I know most of you out there would say run that way. It is the sensible thing to do, and that's why he loses points. Because it was designed badly, with no motivation by the developers. And in the end, again, leads me to the best explanation I could have for doing this review live. It's because Barba is so boring, so bland, so gray, metaphorically and realistically, is that I had to do this review live to keep my interest in the project. It's kind of like having a mosquito inject concrete into your brain, where your brain's moving slower because you don't care, and you can't really think of anything good to say about it because you have no motivation to actually say good things about the guy. Anyway, I'm just gonna go slap the scores on the board and then take a little nap after this. Gameplay. Defeated easily with very little directed attacks and an incredibly obvious hiding spot only made worse by the chase. Again, the game is basically directing you to go that way, and then you have like a perfect shield against the Colossus, and the battle script just screws Barba over a picket fence. The developers didn't even try with this guy. He's a cookie cutter boss fight just to fill up the ranks. It's functional to say the least, and I'll give it a corresponding score of 4 Triforces. Story. Barba isn't playing up an aggressive or submissive atmosphere at all in this place. You could argue his quick death by Wander is going to the story, but this is countered by Barba actively chasing you down the aisle, but mostly just coming across as an isolated being of the living in the deepest recesses of this cave, which just leads to a longer trek to actually get to this guy. He doesn't pander to the story's meaning and doesn't have any identity of his own more than just another guy to beat up. Yeah, completely uninteresting, and it doesn't deserve any functionality points beyond just being another Colossus. Dismally, I'll give Barba a 1 2/3 Triforces. Fun. Since this is based on my personal playthrough, this guy was defeated in such a quick time frame that didn't allow me to see any of his attack patterns, since I figured out his weak point on my first dumb luck move, which I'm probably going to stop calling dumb luck because it was game directed. And my first sigil stabs took off half of his health bar. And yeah, I fell off again, but all I needed to do was go into the hallway hole and hide for a few seconds to allow him to do the same exact thing and finish the fight. It's really kind of annoying because for most of this fight, this guy doesn't know where you are. You basically have to lead yourself to him. You have to direct Barba to find you in this fight most of the time. Because he doesn't know where you are. And it just gets annoying when you actually have to shoot this guy to have him realize where the hell you went. Simply put, Barba is too easy to beat and too boring to dwell on. So here's a grade F score from the Fun Brigade of 2 Triforces. The final score for Mr. Barba is a pathetic 7 2/3 Triforces. For being boring enough to the point where I actually have to keep my interest in it by doing this live, Barba is just a generic Colossus put in so the marketers can say there's 16 Colossi to fight in this game. And while that's true, it's kind of the truth that relates to someone telling you that your car was towed because you double parked. It's still true, but it's only making the situation worse by it actually being true. You know, guys, I'm just gonna leave you with this. My final thought for videos. You know, victory for gamers, and I really do hope you come back for the next video. I won't be doing that video live because I'm assuming the 7th Colossus is a lot more interesting. I'm having high hopes for the next one because, again, there's no way to go but up from here. So, I'll leave you all hoping you have a nice day.